and welcome Friday. It is SimWorld today. I am Marsh, joined on this fine Friday by Rick Blaze. Good morning, Rick. How are you?
Marshmallow. It's another day in Sim World. What up?
We're having a great time. We're having a great time. Who's not having a great time are the Georgia Bulldogs as they become the fourth conference champion. Yesterday, they get knocked out of the college football playoff. None of the top four seeds advance to the semifinals. That's because Notre Dame gets a 23-10 win. Let's jump in right there. We got plenty more to get to as well, but it was a stunning win in terms of just how dominant Notre Dame was. Georgia just had no ability to move the ball, it seemed, and Notre Dame is marching on to the semifinal, truly rebounding well from that early season loss to Northern Illinois.
Yeah, a really good game plan by the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Can you believe it? We're talking about Notre Dame Fighting Irish football is back. It's been a long time since Notre Dame has been in the position that they are right now. But give the coaching staff credit, give the team credit. No one saw this on their bingo board coming into 2025. I know I did. Not the number 2 Georgia Bulldogs. That leaves the gate wide open for a special team of mine. So you know, exciting times in college football, of
What are you?
course.
You a Longhorn? Is that what I'm being led to
Gig
believe
'em,
right now?
hook 'em.
Gig 'em. Aren't you in Houston? Shouldn't you be rooting for the Cougars or something like that?
I root for Cougars every day of my life.
Well,
Yes, I do.
that's always
100%.
wish they weren't called the
Shout
Cougars.
out to all the Cougars.
Well, look, Georgia did not. Georgia has kind of been this team all season. They have not been a good team in terms of the overall dominant showing, and I think college
Wait,
football
wait,
as a
wait, wait,
whole,
wait, 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 wait,
they have not been that
wait.
dominant this season. They have
So
not.
you're saying they limped into the number 2 rankings? Is that what you're saying? They
I'm saying they haven't
they
been head and
they
shoulders
barely
running away from the
scathed
rest
into
of
the
the
number
world.
2 ranking.
Yeah, I am saying that. Here at the end
Oh
of the
my
season, they've
gosh.
had to go to 8 overtimes against Georgia Tech to get that win. They did not look dominant against Texas in a game that they probably could have and should have lost. They had a great start to the season, but really this was a Georgia Bulldogs team, and I think college football as a whole, outside of Oregon, who we got proven was not to be true at all, where we didn't have a team that was overall, bar none, the most dominant team in college football. If Carson Beck is just starting quarterback on a team you're trying to win a championship with, it's just not, in my opinion, a deep, we're not talking like prime Alabama, prime
No.
Clemson, even the
No.
prime Georgia. That's what I'm talking about. Georgia obviously was a great football team, but if you look at all of the teams that advanced, each of them has their flaws. Ohio State gets smacked, well, not smacked, but they lose to a 7-win Michigan Wolverines team in a rivalry matchup. Texas, the only team that they can lose to apparently is Georgia, who has now been cleared from the slate. Penn State, they go down and really can't beat any of the big dogs of the Big Ten. And then, of course, Notre Dame loses to Northern Illinois. That is what we've got in our semifinal. Flawed, but very talented teams. And I think that's better for college football because you're going to hear a lot of people talk about, Rick, well, the top 4 teams didn't make it. So that means the college football playoff that we've known for the last decade, when it was a top 4 teams only, is invalid. We should have been doing this long ago. I don't think that that's correct, but I do think it's better for college football and better for sports in general when we don't have this you lose once and it's over type of mentality. I don't like that. I have never liked that because it does not really truly give you the best team in college football. And this is the example why when we've got the 5, 6, 7, and 8 seeds marching on to the semifinals.
And football and college football in general is just so much different than all the other sports because in all the other sports and playoffs, you get several games to get it right. So you're going to have normally your top seeds to win. In
Yep.
football, you only need to get hot at the right time or have the right matchup at the right time. And that's what's so beautiful about the game of football, especially college football. You only need to be the best team going against that team that particular day. And it was Notre Dame's day, and it wasn't Georgia's day. And it is what it is. And I think you're right to the point that it does bring more excitement to college football because you do have a chance to win the whole thing if your team gets hot at the right time.
I would say this, and I'm not going to take a victory lap just because the first time this happens, we
Of
get
course
this.
you are, Marshall. You always
No,
say
no, no, I'm
victory.
not because it's
Victory.
not fair. I do think that the 12-team playoff is 4 teams too many. I think 8 would have been the right way to go. And you look at the games that we got in the first round were not competitive games. That being said, I loved having home playoff football games. I just liked how you're going into Michigan. You've got a game in Texas. You've got home matchups or not Michigan, I'm sorry, Ohio State. You're going into Penn State. You've got just home matchups in college football playoff. I thought was enjoyable, but I do think 12 teams might be 4 too many. We're not going down to 8. I promise you that.
Nope.
There's too much money
We're
on the
not
line.
walking it
So
back.
the football and in general sports never walks back. They only walk forward. Prediction, real quick, Rick. Who do you have Texas beating in the national championship game?
It's a
'Cause I
good
know you're
question.
not bowing out on them now.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, let's go to Notre Dame. Why not?
Okay.
Let's go to Fighting
I'm
Irish. Why not?
Ohio State looks like a team possessed. I think Texas got unlucky to be on that side of the bracket because that the Ohio State Oregon winner, in my opinion, was going to be the national champion. So I'm going Ohio State over Notre Dame.
Whoa.
So I Ohio State's looked hair
Ohio
on
State
fire
against who?
good. Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's beaten Penn State because Penn State still has not beaten a really great opponent. They're in the semifinal. Good for them. They have not beaten a great opponent. All right, let's head to great futures, and that would be the big board, but rebranded yesterday. A little slided under the radar. Bleacher Report changed the name of their ranking to be prospect rankings. So no longer their draft big board, but prospect rankings, which means, of course, Cooper Flag sits atop the list, followed by Lamarian Sherwood, Jameson Johnson, reverse order there, Trey Turner, and Dylan Harper as the top 5. Rick, your thoughts on this list? Again, it's not draft eligible, guys. It's just all the prospects in college basketball. You got freshmen in there, obviously. They are not draft eligible just yet. They have to spend 2 seasons in college basketball now. So, your takeaways, your opinions of this list.
I mean, if we're going by the new title change, I don't mind Cooper Flag being number 1. I think he is the most unique prospect because of his size and his position and his skill set at that size. He's a 4/3-ish type player. He's kind of like, his company says Blake Griffin. I think he has a much well-rounded offensive game than Blake Griffin does. Because he can shoot the ball coming out of college. Blake Griffin didn't learn how to shoot until he went to Detroit or later on in his Clipper career. Besides that, I think the only other person, the person that's number 1 after that, besides Cooper Flag, is Jameson Johnson. I'm going to die on that hill, and I don't care how anybody feels about it. Sherwood is a phenomenal player. He's more of the super traditional big, and that's beautiful because I think big man basketball is coming back in both college basketball and the SWBA. But for my money, the guy with the lowest floor, who's going to be a 15-10, 15-9 guy at worst, is for his SWBA career, is Jameson Johnson. I take Jameson Johnson all day, every day, and twice on the Sundays.
So yesterday, this list came out, and they called it the draft board. And remember the scene in the movie Elf where Will Ferrell, so Buddy, has been relegated to Jack in the Box duty, and he has to sit there and he has to wind the Jack in the Box, and
Yeah.
he has to see if it works or not. And he gets the one that's defective, and it doesn't work, and he sets it to the side. That's pretty much where I'm at right now because I was wound up yesterday. I'll tell you what, Rick, I was wound up because I saw this list and they call it a draft board, and I'm sitting here saying it's not a draft board if a guy isn't eligible. Okay,
Right.
this is just a Bleacher Report cop out to put Cooper Flag at the top of the list because you know it's going to get you clicks. You know people are going to pay attention to it. I know our friends in SimWorld Prep have heard their plenty fair share of Cooper Flag, and they'll tell you they are sick and tired of it, even though he's the best player in college basketball. So I was ready to just come in here guns a-blazing. But Bleacher Report came in, swiped me at my knees, and said, never mind, it's a prospect ranking, and no longer can I be upset. However,
They
there's still
took
2 things that I
away
have.
they took away what you love to live for most, Marsh, and I know you feel sad about it.
Yeah, I was practicing my tirade. I was ready to unleash, and I was not allowed to. However, there's still two reasons for me to be slightly bothered by this. The first one, Cooper Kingy Cross at number 11 is terrible. I mean, he showed it off last night. What, 34, 5, and 6, I think, in Maryland's win. Cooper Kingy Cross. I said it yesterday in a little. I didn't realize my phone calls are now getting tapped, but with Roniel, Cooper Kingy Cross is my number one. I know you got Jameson
You're number
Johnson. I
one
can
for what?
if I'm picking number one, I'm taking Cooper Kingy Cross. And
Boy, you
I
crazy.
understand. I understand your Jameson Johnson take. I get it. But Cooper Flag is my number one. You're dying on that hill over there. I'm over here on my knoll, and we're just shooting BB guns at one another because
So
neither of
wait,
us are
so who's
going
your number?
down.
Is it Cooper King Cross or Cooper Flag? I feel like you switching
Cooper Kingy
every other
Cross.
sentence.
Cooper Kingy Cross.
He's
Again,
your
Cooper
number
Flag is
one.
not. He's my number one, and I am fine with that. I am perfectly fine with Cooper Kingy Cross as my number one. I understand that people aren't going to love that, but I'm going to sit here and say I love what he does with the basketball. He's a great facilitator. He has proven to be, unlike our friend Lace Darius Outlaw, who has struggled sometimes as being the one and only option. Cooper Kingy Cross as a guard has not. And again, this is not. I can't sit here and denigrate Jameson Johnson. Everything that you said about Jameson Johnson is true. I just like the ceiling of Cooper King across. If we're keeping freshmen on this list, where's Arthur Lattimore, Rick? Because Arthur Lattimore is nowhere to be found. I double checked this list, and King Arthur is not there. And I look, if we're doing prospect rankings, I'm struggling to see somebody being 30 players being better than Arthur Lattimore, Rick.
I agree with that statement. If we're gonna put prospects on there, that's also going to include freshmen. Arthur Lattimore probably needs to be somewhere in the 30. But can I talk about the biggest robbery of all?
What, you and me?
DJ Charles has not made the top 30 list. I'm telling you, I don't care how many guards is on that top 30 list. At least about 12 of them. There's not 12 guards better than DJ Charles, and I don't care how you slice it. He happens to be on a team where he doesn't have to be the guy, and he gets penalized for it. But I tell you this, whoever end up getting DJ Charles on their team, they're going to be thanking the basketball gods that this man of mans, this king of kings, this god of gods have landed in their lap. It is a complete crime of the worst kind not to have DJ Charles somewhere in the top 30. There are not seven guards. There are not five guards that are better, overall better guard than DJ Charles. And that, my friends, is the truth.
Yep. No, nobody loves a 36% shooter more than Rick Blaze. Although I do
Your
agree.
man is
I,
CKC.
I agree with you. Let's not compare those. We got more things to get to because I'm going to win that argument. All right. Speaking of winning games, that would be Georgia Tech. Excuse me, yes, Georgia Tech, but Georgetown and Virginia Tech as Georgetown continues their red hot run as they have not lost since October 2nd. Meanwhile, Virginia Tech has not lost since October 24th. Both of them have powered their way well into the top 15, and Virginia Tech at 9, Georgetown at number 11 right now. So the question, Rick, which one of these two teams loses first?
I have a simple question to redirect to you. Virginia Tech's next team is against who? You know?
VCU.
Huh?
VCU.
L. Lost.
They're losing to, oh my gosh. What is with you and your hatred of Virginia Tech? They're going to win one game in Hoops Area. Now they're going to lose to the VCU Rams. I mean, I've still got it's not in my room. I got my post-it note with the one win written down. I mean,
Hey,
what is your hatred for
it
Virginia Tech?
all sounds crazy until it happened, doesn't it?
That's not what I said. I said, what's your hatred for Virginia
I
Tech?
don't have a
What
hatred
is
for me.
what is your
I don't have
lack
a
of
hatred.
belief in? Then what's
Listen,
your
look
lack of
at me,
belief?
baby. It's 2025. Look at me. Look at me good. I don't
I
have
don't know.
a hater bone in my body for
I
2025.
know that's not true. I know
That's
that's
not a
not true.
hater. Look at this body, Marsh. Look at my body. Look at
I
my body.
really don't need us to keep bringing that one up.
There is not a hater bone in this body.
So
I
why
re-
is Virginia Tech losing before Georgetown? What about that?
I just again when it comes down to it, when I think about okay, we've talked about this before, and I'm going to sound like a repeat radio. I don't like Virginia Tech ability to close out offensively close games. Let me not say I don't like. I don't love their ability to close out offensively close games. They play great defense. They play great team ball. I do like Newly Cox, but again, I don't love their ability to close out close games. They're not losing to VCU. I was being a little bit, extra on that, Marshall. You know that.
You're
But
always
I
extra.
do believe they lose first before Georgetown. I think Virginia Tech is a really good team, but there's tiers to this, Marsh, and I think they are in the second tier of the really good teams.
So this is Virginia Tech's upcoming schedule. VCU on the 6th, UNLV on the 8th, Wake
That's the
Forest
one.
on the
That's the one. That's the
okay.
one.
Wake Forest on the 30th, Syracuse on the 5th, Notre Dame on the 10th, Miami on the 20th. We're into February, obviously, and then Duke on the
Miami's
22nd.
gonna be a good right game for them. It's gonna be
Georgetown,
UNLV.
Georgetown's upcoming schedule: Jackson State, SMU, Davidson. That's on 7, 8, 9. They somehow got a 3 in a row, which is brutal. And then Richmond, Indiana, Creighton, St. John's, Marquette. They start getting rolling into to conference play. I'm gonna go Georgetown because one, I'm gonna get a very beneficial piece here. They have 3 games in the span that Virginia Tech has 2, but I also think the upcoming schedule, Davidson has been looking really good. They just won yesterday in their return to the top 25. If you're going to pick a Virginia Tech loss before the Duke game, it is UNLV. I don't know if that's going to happen though. I think that 3 games in a row stretch for Georgetown, which is chaos, 7, 8, 9, is where it's going to come to an end against Davidson. So that's where those 2 teams, who have both been, again, top
So
15
so
squads.
you agree Virginia Tech will lose first?
No, I said Georgetown will because they have more games. I just need to see Virginia Tech get past UNLV. But I did agree with you. If they are going to lose before they play Duke, UNLV is their toughest opponent. That is without doubt. It's not VCU. It's not Miami. It's a matchup with UNLV, who's looked really good with Nat Hawkins, who is in that prospect ranking top 30. All right, we had a huge day in SimWorld U last night, so we've got, I don't even know how many games to get through, so roll the tape and let's get to our SimWorld U
Wrap it
wrap-up,
up.
where we started off with Maryland and UConn. Cooper King Cross got cooking. I beg your pardon. We already
Hey,
talked about that game. Let's get to Davidson. How about Davidson going 72-66 win over Ole Miss? It was a big night from Keontae Doucette, 21-10 in the win for the Wildcats. Temple, they got rolling or tried to against Virginia Tech to no avail. A huge rally for Virginia Tech in the second half. They outscore Temple 41-27 on their way to an 80-79 win. Michigan State trying to prove they can hang with the big dogs. They take down San Diego State 88-81. Big night from Jadrian Ella. He has 19. We talked Georgetown already a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about them more. They hand a big loss to Princeton, 101-80. They move to 10-1. Jay Laster leads the way with 26 points. St. John's and Harvard. Harvard still can't really get anything rolling, and it's the Johnny's Shea King rolling out at 21-9 afternoon. Keyshawn Shipp left in the final minute with an injury, but he had 13 points in the win as well. All right, UConn and Maryland. It was going on the road for Cooper King. He crossed 34-5-4 in a win for Maryland. They moved to 8-1. They're number 19 in the country.
that's not even fair on the island like that. That's
Villanova against Rutgers. Big prospect matchup between Justin Bell and Dylan Harper, though neither of them would lead their team in scoring. It'd be Aaron Lovejoy pacing the way with 20 points as Villanova gets a 62-61 win over the Scarlet Knights. Head to Jackson State, the second game of our ESPN doubleheader, and it's a near blown game from New Mexico, but they hang on for a 72-71. Draco Whitford with a big night, 18 points. D. Woodley, 33 shots on his way to 25 points. Not the most efficient night of D. Woodley's career in the loss. How about Wisconsin and UNLV? Rick's a big UNLV stan. Nat Hawkins giving him good reason to be so. 18 points in a 71-65 win, and the Rebels move to 7-6 on the season. Jarrell Beauchamp, welcome back. 14 points, 7 rebounds for the star freshman. Colorado State and Houston. Houston going on the road to beat up on the Rams 83-76. Big night from Carl Holmes, 27-14, 17 points from Freddie Stonewall.
I love me some Cougars.
The win. Boise State, you always do. Boise State continues their struggling start. It's Illinois handing them a 65-41 loss. Towns Romanowski led the way with 20 points, 14 and 7 from D'Angelo Jordan. Head to Nevada, VCU. They say, Rick, believe in us. 75-60 win on the road. Maverick Jackson Jones with 17 points. Torian Ives with 14. 12 apiece from Corwin Thompson and Aiton. How do you spell that? Elton Hawker to close things out. All right, that is our show. But, Rick, I think we got some news real quick. Starting next week, what's the verdict? Are we seeing a little bit more Rick Blaze in our mornings?
Y'all want to see my face? Do y'all want to see my face?
I might not.
The man of the people has spoken. Y'all want to see my face? I'm going to be here. SimWorld TV, my face. 5 days a week. You got me on Monday, Tuesday. Any day that ends in Y, you get to see my face. YXY, you get to see this face, Marsh.
You're all welcome. Thanks for joining us. We're back on Monday on SimWorld TV. Only place you can see the game, be the game.
See my face.
This has been a presentation of SimWorld